Hello guys, welcome back to my channel in English Academy. Guys, please like, share, follow, comment and subscribe the channel. Guys, if you have subscribed the channel, now we come on the topic the poem The Sun Rising. Guys, in the last video I have told that the poems The Sun Rising was written by metaphysical poet John Donne. Guys, we have also studied about a brief introduction of the poem The Sun Rising and a brief introduction of the poet John Donne. So guys, in this video we will explain one by one line of the poem The Sun Rising. So guys, come on the topic and let's start now. Bitchy old Hule, unruly sun, why dost thou thus through windows and through curtains call on us? Must to my motion lovers seasons run, so she pedantic wrath go child, late school boys and shore prentice, tell court huntsman that the king will ride, call country aunts to harvest office, love all alike, no season knows nor time, nor hours, days, months, which are the wrecks of time. Thy beams so reverent and strong, why shouldst thou think I could eclipse and clouds them with the wings? But that I would nor not lose her sight so long, if her eyes have not blinded thine. Look and tomorrow late tell me whether both the Indias of spices and mine be there thou left'st them or lie here with me. Ask for those kings whom thou sawest yesterday, and thou here all here in one bed lay. She is all states and all princes, I nothing else is. Princes do but play us, compared to this, all honors may be called wealth, alchemy. Thou son art half as happy as we, in that the world contracted thus. Thine age asks is, and since thy duty be to warm the world, that's done in warming us, shine here on us, and thou art everywhere. This bed thy center is, these walls thy speed. So guys, come on the first stanza of the poem. Bitchy old Hulle unruly sunny, why dost thou thus through windows and through curtains call on us? Must to thy motions lover seasons run? Showy pedantic rage go child, lad school boys and shore apprentice. Go tell court huntsman that the king will ride, call country aunts to hottest offices, love all alike, no season knows nor climb, nor hours, days, months, which are the wrecks of the time. Guys, in the first stanza of the poem, the poet, in the opening lines, com- the poet scolds the sun as an old fool. Because he calls the sun is unruly, meddlesome, and foolish. He asks it how it dared to peep through the windows and curtains of the bedrooms of the poet, where he was busy in making love with his beloved. Late schoolboys and shore apprentice go tell court huntsmen that the king will ride, call country aunts to harvest offices. Guys, in the next lines, the poet says that the poet calls the sun and the poet calls the sun an impudent, vain, and hateful person. Instead of entering the chamber of lovers, it should go and scold the schoolboys who get up late from their beds. He should awake, the poet says to the son that he should awake the apprentice who are not willing to get up early for their work. He may he may awake the count herdsman whose duty is to accompany the king during hunting. He may also arise the farm. He may and he also says that the sun may also arise the farmers because like ants they have to with the work of lovers because time has no effect on them nor hours days months which are the rags of time. And poet says that he, when poet says that the sun should not interfere with the work of lovers because time has no effect on them. Lovers have nothing to do with hours, days, and months. They have no case for the change of seasons. All seasons are the same for them. The poet scolding of the sun shows he is aware at the various social activity and the problems of those activities. Guys, next stanza is that thy beams so reverend and strong, why shouldst thou think I could eclipse and cloud them with a wing, but that I wouldn't lose her sight so long. If her eyes have not blinded thine, look and tomorrow late tell me whether both the Indians oh, sorry whether both of the Indias of spice and mine beware thou lifted them or lie here with me. Ask for those kings whom thou sawest yesterday, and thou shalt hear all here in one medley. Guys, in these lines, that the poet says to the sun that the people respected the sun for its power and life giving qualities, but it should not be proud of its strength. The poet warns the sun that he can deprive it of its luster and darken it by just twinkling at it. He further says that he will not do so because he does not like to miss the sight of his beloved even for a moment. The poet wants to continue looking at his beloved without a break even for a moment. He is confident that the dazzling beauty of his beloved can blind the eyes of the sun. He is surprised. Guys, the poet says that he is surprised to note that the sun has not been dazzled yet. He compares the beauty of his beloved to the wealth of the Indias. He is confident that all the precious stones of the east and gold mines are nothing when compared to the charm of his beloved. While the poet says that the sun may confirm his claim from the kings, they will agree that the lover alone is the richest person as he has the most precious gem in the form of his beloved. Guys, last stanza of the poem. She is all states and all princes, I nothing else is. Princes do but players. Compared to this, all honors may be called wealth alchemy. Thou son art half as happy as we, in that the world's contracted thus. Thine is ask ease and since thy duties be. To warm the world that's done in warming us, shine here to us and thou and everywhere. This bed thy center is, these walls thy spear. I, she is all states and all princes I, nothing else. Guys, in these lines, the poet appreciates his beloved and says that say that the lover believes that he and says that his beloved represent all states of the world. Princes do but play us compared to this. All honors may be all wealth alchemy. And guys, and poet also says that he stands for the king. Guys, here the poet refers himself as a king. There is nothing beyond the tomb, or says that here is nothing beyond the tomb. All honors may be called wealth alchemy, and also says that all honor which the princes of the world enjoys is merely imitations of honor that lovers enjoy. Thou, son, art half as happy as we, in that the words contracted thus. And then, guys, the poet also says that all honor which the princes of the world enjoy is mere imitation of the honor that lovers enjoy. The wealth of king is not real but simple base metal. He beloved is his real wealth. Next lines. Thou son art all honors may be called wealth alchemy. Thou son art half as happy as we, in that the world contracted us. Thine age asks age, and since thy duties be to warm the world, that is done in warming us. Shine here to us, and thou everywhere. This bed thy center is, these walls thy spear. And guys, the poet says that the bed where he and his wife are lying is the whole world, is a narrow compass for them. They are very happy. The sun is not half as happy as the lover are. The poet also says that the bed chamber of the lovers is the world contracted within the four walls. Moreover, the sun has grown old and tired, and it requires rest, and it should concrete on the bedchamber of the lover. The sole function of the sun is to give warmth. It must to confine itself to the bed of the lovers. Thus, the sun could perform its duty by shining only in their bedroom. The lover's bed would be the center for the sun, and the walls of their bedroom, the sphere within which the sun would revolve. Thanks so much, guys, for watching the video. Guys, don't forget to like the video. Thanks. Thank you, guys.